So for the rest of the afternoon, we're going to be transitioning into more hands-on. Two things that I want to try to get done before we call it a day is get everyone set up with Burp Suite Community Edition. Get your browser configured, start getting familiar with like looking at under the hood at HTTP traffic. I have a sample web application that I've built and deployed online that's got a couple of the vulnerabilities that we talked about. We're going to walk through all of that together, showing you what it looks like to exploit those. So while I'm doing this, I encourage you to try to follow along, ask questions if you get stuck. But the first lab is really just like a do it with me to get you all comfortable. And then I will open up our Owasp CTF, where you can use Burp Suite and some of the tools or some of the techniques and explanations that we've talked about and discovered for a little bit of a competition style exercise where we'll have points and a scoreboard and a time limit and see who wins it at the end. So first things first, if you haven't yet, please try to download and install Burp Suite Community Edition. It's not a hard requirement if you'd prefer not to, or if you're on like a company laptop and they won't let you install a software, that's okay. You should be able to just follow along, and when we get to the CTF, you probably won't use, or you won't need to use Burp Suite, but it does help, and I'd like to demo and use Burp Suite for everyone moving forward here. Burp Suite is free. The Community Edition is free. There's also a professional version, but we'll be fine with just the Community Edition, and then it has Windows and Mac installers, or Linux if you're on Linux. I'm using Windows, so I'll walk through the setup on Windows. It should be pretty similar for Mac, but if we get stuck, or anyone that is on a Mac maybe could screen share themselves, and we could walk through the setup when we get to it. But okay, enough of that. Let's jump right into it. So the lab agenda, we're going to just walk through the initial installation of Burp and configuring Burp, and then I will walk through the solutions of our normal vulnerable web app. So if you have Burp Suite installed, the first time you load it up, it'll prompt you to just accept some defaults. That's fine. And it will land you on a main page, and I'm just going to pull Burp into my window here so you can see what Burp Suite looks like. It's a little bit overwhelming. It's a lot of tabs. There's a ton of functionality. We're only going to really need to use a couple core features of Burp Suite that I'm going to walk through. So don't get too overwhelmed. And a lot of it is actually disabled because it's pro version only anyway. The main tab that we're going to want to go to first within Burp Suite is the Proxy tab. Now, the proxy is the main core functionality of Burp. The proxy is when it listens for incoming HTTP requests and becomes that man in the middle for the HTTP traffic. So I'm going to switch back to my slides really quick. If we go to proxy and then on the intercept tab, this is where we're going to set up Burp Suite to start intercepting traffic. Now we have two options. We can either configure any browser to talk to Burp, or what's nice is newer versions of Burp, so if you've downloaded the latest version, have a built-in browser that you can launch, and Burp Suite will automatically configure that browser to talk to Burp Suite as a proxy. So if we go back to the Proxy Intercept tab, depending on your version, it may look a little bit different here, but there should be a button called Open Browser. We're going to use Burp Suite's built-in browser for our exercise here. It's Chromium based, so it's the same engine that Chrome and Edge use, but it's already pre-configured to talk to Burp Suite. So if we hit Open Browser here, let me pull it into my window. I'll make it a bit smaller. We'll see just a blank what appears to be a Chrome window. And you can tell that it's the Burp Suite browser because you're going to have a couple icons or extensions up here. This browser is ready to go. It's going to use Burp Suite as its proxy. So anything we browse in this browser that pops up, Burp Suite will be able to intercept, modify, and see. If we start typing, if you've just opened Burp Suite for the first time, you'll notice that if we try to go to, say, google.com, it appears to hang, and we'll just kind of see it loading and loading. What's actually happening here when you do Burp Suite for the first time is Burp Suite is pausing and holding on to that outgoing request. It's waiting for action for you. So that's why the browser thinks it's just loading. But if we open up Burp Suite, we can see that the Proxy tab and the Intercept tab have turned orange to get our attention. And there's a request that's being hung right here, and Burp Suite is basically asking, what do you want to do with it? So by default, Burp will stop every single request from going out and prompt you if you'd like to forward, drop, or modify. So we can forward or we can drop this request. What I would actually do is just turn intercept off, and you'll see a button here that says intercept is on. If we turn intercept off, it will allow all requests to go through, and it will log them. So it won't actually prompt you. It just kind of acts as an invisible man in the middle. It will log everything, but it won't intercept or stop anything. Now, if we, now that I think I waited too long, so let me try that again. Okay, so the next thing that we'll notice is if we have intercept off, we'll get, and I may have already clicked through it and accepted it, but I know we talked about that big scary like SSL error, like the certificate is not trusted. We can see that trying to talk to google.com through Burp Suite is marked as not secure. And it says your connection to the site is not secure. Depending on what browser you're using, it may pop up, like the warning, do you want to proceed? Or an attacker may be trying to steal your data. This is expected. This is because Burp Suite is automatically decrypting and man-in-middling the traffic for us. So we would expect to see an invalid certificate for google.com. And we can actually verify and see what that certificate looks like by clicking on the certificate. And we can see that it's a certificate that's supposedly for google.com, but it's issued by Portswigger. Portswigger is the company that makes Burp Suite. So this is the important step to do. So to pay attention, then we'll follow along. If anyone else gets trouble on this step, we can walk through it together. We need to configure our machine to trust the certificate authorities from Portswigger so we can get past these communication errors. So what we'll do to do that is we can actually download the certificate from Burp Suite and then tell Windows or Mac to trust that certificate temporarily. The easiest way to do that is within the browser to actually go to http://burp. This will load the Welcome to Burp Suite Community Edition page, and there'll be a link in the top right corner for the CA certificate. We can click that, and we're actually going to download the CA certificate from Burp Suite. Chrome says it can harm your computer. We do want to keep it. We trust this. And you should download a file called cacert.der. This is the certificate for Burp Suite. We need to actually tell Windows, I'm on Windows or Mac, that we want to trust this certificate. So on Windows, I'll pop it open. If you click on that, it will pop open some information on the certificate. As you can see, it's issued to Portswigger. On Windows, we need to install this certificate. So we click on Install Certificate. We do it for the current user. And we need to place it in the following store for certificate store, Trusted Root Certification Authorities. And this is all in the slides if you need to follow along. But we're going to install this certificate and basically tell Windows to trust this certificate as a root certification authority. And we'll hit finish. It will prompt us a warning. Naturally, we should make sure we're actually installing the Portswigger certificate. And when we're done testing, we can actually remove the certificate if we want to get it off our machine. So with that certificate installed, if we try to go to google.com, let me just restart the browser. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. My Windows machine is prompting for an update right now. What great timing. Let me pause here because I know I just went through a lot. Who's been able to follow along or who has Burp Suite installed yet?
I haven't installed, but I'm on a Mac.
Yeah, installed.
Okay,
I tried
you're on a
doing
Mac?
it on, I have it on a Mac as well, and it had me
it automatically led to like a prompt for a current user. You have to use login. You have to add it to like a keychain.
Perfect. Are most of you on a Mac probably?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Who was just I couldn't see the name, but whoever was just saying that they got it installed on a Mac, would you mind screen sharing so maybe we can just walk through it all together and show everyone what it looks like?
I honestly can't tell if it's actually in. I mean, so I have Burp installed and I already did the keychain thing. Do you want me to just go from there?
Yeah, we can. Or if someone else has just got it installed or wants to walk through it together, I just need a test student here to show what it would look like on a Mac.
I just got it installed, didn't run through anything yet.
All right. Do you mind sharing your screen and we can talk through it together?
Yeah, I can try. So it's giving me this. Well, I guess right off the bat.
Perfect. So if you go to your
Just
the
click,
proxy,
there's like 2 windows. I just clicked like next and next, and that's
yeah. So you can accept the defaults, and then Burp Suite Community will open up. And then if you go to the Proxy tab within Burp Suite at the top, and then hit the Open Browser, that will start the embedded browser for Burp Suite.
oh, it
Perfect.
opened.
Hey, I'm late.
Oh, no problem. We're just we're walking through Burp Suite. So if you have Burp Suite installed, we're setting it up.
Is Chromium part of it?
Yeah, so Chromium is the browser that is built into Burp Suite. So this browser you're looking at right here is the default browser for Burp Suite. So if you go into the address bar here and type in http://burp, B-U-R-P, and hit enter, it'll take you to here. And now you can click on CA certificate. And that will download that DER file. On a Mac, if you open it, it should default to your keychain. Click and open that.
You know what it'd be
And
called?
if you scroll down there, I see it. It's under P, Portswigger CA. So what everyone on a Mac will want to do is find this in your keychain for the Portswigger CA. And Mac will tell you that this root certificate is not trusted. We actually need to make it trusted. So if you double click on it and expand out the trust first line there, and then for secure sockets layer, SSL, where it says no value specified, we're going to tell Mac that we want to trust it. So just hit always trust. And then you can close this out. You can leave the rest. That's fine. We're only going to use it for SSL. And it will prompt you to put your password in.
Okay.
Okay. And now if you go within this browser here and go back up to the top, you should be able to type in like https google.com or something.
Is it always called Portswigger?
Yes.
I couldn't find it in mine. It's weird.
Make sure you download that DER file and double click it, and then Mac should install that. Okay, Brendan, so good. See how it's hanging? It just kind of looks like it's loading.
Yep.
Go back to Burp Suite. It's probably waiting for you. Yeah. So it's waiting it's asking you what you want to do with these requests. If you click the button that says intercept is on, we'll actually turn intercept off and let everything load. There you go. So this is what success looks like. This is you're on Google and you can see the little padlock icon. It's trusted, meaning your Chrome is trusting it. It looks like you've got a trusted connection. But if you look in Burp Suite, Brendan, if you go over to the HTTP history, we'll see all of these encrypted HTTP requests are actually being decrypted, and you can click on them and start looking at them. So this is the encrypted traffic to Google, but this is what it looks like decrypted. So that's what it looks like getting set up on a Mac. For those of you that, if someone else wants to screen share that's having trouble, I want to make sure everyone gets set up with this.
I can screen share. Give me one second.
Okay, so you downloaded the DER file, right? From, let's see who's sharing, Jose? Yep.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Oh.
Or I couldn't speak. I don't know why my mic wasn't working. You talk about this DER file. What specifically is that? I'm kind of not following.
Okay, so go back to the browser, the window that you have open with Burp Suite right there,
Sure.
and click the CA certificate button
Right,
In
and
the
I did that.
in the top right.
Mhm.
Okay, and then if you double click on that or find that file and open it, it should load that into your keychain. So somewhere in this list, we're gonna wanna look for Port Swigger.
Okay. Okay, now I see it.
Yep.
So, just trust, you said?
Yes, and then the trust icon,
Root certificate is, okay.
yeah, we need to mark it as trusted. So if you expand trust, you only need to trust it for SSL. So where it says secure sockets layer,
Okay, secure sockets right here.
always trust.
Trust. Okay.
And then you can close that out. It'll ask you for your password when you try to close it.
Okay. Okay. And then
In your browser, now try to go to google.com.
Okay.
Just any site really.
oops. Okay. Perfect.
Yep, and now you see a padlock. It looks like it's working. And if you open Burp Suite now,
Okay.
go back to the Burp Suite window and look at your HTTP history tab. You can see it's working because we see all the traffic that your browser is sending right now. So you talking to Google, this is all the decrypted traffic sending that browser is sending to Google. So this is success. This is working now. You've got it set up and you can intercept and view the web traffic. I think I saw in chat someone else is not working. If you want to share your screen and walk through it.
Yes, that was me. I can share my screen.
Got it. So slightly different version of OS X, I can tell, but it should still be here. So if you're in your login keychain, can you try going to system? Is it in here?
Yeah, I couldn't find it. I tried all the different tabs.
Are you able to just type in the search bar like port and it will filter all those?
Yeah, on the left, the keychains there. Try system keychain. I don't know if it puts it in there instead of system root system keychain. All right, can you go to your downloads folder wherever the file was actually downloaded? And then either, or if you double click on it, it just opens up the keychain and doesn't do anything. Oh, to change. Try it. I think the login keychain should be okay. If you have that one selected and then you double click on the Port Swigger file. Okay, maybe we need to unlock. Can you right click on the system keychain? And unlock it. And now that it's unlocked, maybe now try to do the double click on the file again. Or click and drag the file into the system keychain. I don't know what the holdup is here. Oh, now it's
There it
there.
is.
Okay, so click and drag, I guess, was the key. So now if you go to trust at the top, and then secure sockets layer, the SSL, change that to always trust. Yep, close it out.
Okay.
There you go. And then you can toggle intercept there. Just turn intercept off on Burp Suite. And try going to Google. There you go. It's an encrypted, quote unquote, trusted connection. And under the HTTP history tab within Burp Suite, you'll see your Google traffic. So if you start browsing in that, you will see decrypted SSL traffic.
Great, thank you.
Yep, no problem. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me open mine back up and then we'll all walk through this together.
I think someone else in the chat was also having issues. I don't know if that got
Oh,
through
sure.
to-
Yeah, anyone who's having an issue, speak up or go ahead and share your screen.
Hi, yeah, I'm at the, downloaded it and I set it to proxy. Let me share my screen.
Mhm. Okay, and then open the browser. Yep.
Okay.
And then from here, you need to go to http://burp. And then where it says CA certificate in the top right, click that. And then opening that file should bring open your keychain. Okay, this looks like it was the same issue that I think Jose was having. If you right click on the system, you need to unlock that. And then if you can open your downloads folder, you're gonna have to click and drag the file into this.
Okay. Drag this.
Yeah, drag the cacert.der file from your downloads folder into the system keychain. Yeah, that should work. I think that's what Jose did. And then see if you can find now in your system keychain under all items, maybe at the top. There should be a lot more. Is there anything that says port swigger? No, it doesn't look. Did it get dragged in there?
Oh no, that it got dragged in.
Okay. Try dragging it in again.
There it is.
Yep, there you go. So now double click on that and expand out the
Trust.
trust,
Okay.
SSL always trust.
That's it.
That's it. Yep. And now back in your browser, just verify by going to like Google or any site you want. And then it's hanging because Burp Suite has intercept enabled. So if you go back to Burp Suite, you can toggle intercept off. Where it says intercept is on, just hit that toggle.
Is that top?
It's the blue button. It's highlighted blue right now. Yep, right there. And you should see Google finish loading.
Okay.
Oh, that's interesting. Yours says not secure. Oh, did you close out? Sorry, the window that you had that, yeah, that keychain window. You have it set to always trust. Hit the X so it actually confirms that. Close that out. It'll.
This one too?
Yep. And now if you refresh your browser, you should get rid of that not secure warning and it'll look like it's secure.
Okay.
You may actually need to close the browser and restart it or something.
Open browser.
There you go. So you've got the padlock, and then in your Burp Suite, if you go to your HTTP history tab, back in the Burp Suite app,
Oh,
you'll see HTTP history there. Yep, there you go. So you're seeing a history of all of your requests that browser is making. And those are HTTPS, which means that they are encrypted, but Burp Suite now you know the decryption is working because you can actually read them. So that's set up. Cool. Seems like everyone got that working then. Anyone else having trouble, or should we move on? I'll start sharing my screen again. Okay, so like I said, Burp Suite is a little intimidating. There's a ton of functionality, but I just want to quickly show you the main core functionality, and most of it's under the Proxy tab. So we've already seen the intercept. Anytime you have intercept on, Burp will not let your browser make a request. It will halt and pause everything. That gets annoying because your browser makes a lot of requests. So generally I keep that off. But when intercept is off, we're able to still capture and look at the logs of every request. So under the HTTP history tab is a sequential order of every request that your browser has made. So as you browse Google, we can actually see and follow along every request that went and the response that came back. So this is how we can start dissecting and figuring out what web applications are doing by looking at it in order. I think I have mine where the newest ones are on top. But you can flip that just by the number here. And you can see every request, the headers, and the response that comes back and forth. So now let's go to our actual vulnerable app that I'd like us all to hack first. And this is something fun that I set up. I'm a big comic book nerd. And so I've created the Justice League headquarters online portal. And it's located at watchtower.ropnop.dev. So if everyone can type in watchtower.ropnop.dev, where's my, it's not supposed to look like that.
That's a beautiful website, though.
Cores is blocking me. Does it look like this for everyone else, or is it just me?
Mine looks fine.
Looks fine, yeah.
It says I have to be a member of the Justice League to view the site, though.
That's weird. Yeah, it's supposed to look like this. So anyways, I don't know. I think my laptop is being weird because it's installing up Windows Update right now in the background. But anyways, here's what we can do to follow along. What I'd like everyone to do is, as you go to watchtower.ropnop.dev, you'll start to see the requests come in for watchtower.ropnop.dev within Burp Suite here. When we're doing testing, it's really important or useful to just focus in on one specific thing. So if you go in Burp Suite to your target tab, the target tab will list out under sitemap like a hierarchy of everything that we're looking at. And we can see, like, I already went to Google. There's a couple things for Google, but the main thing is watchtower.ropnop.dev. If you want to, you can right click on this and say add to scope. And what this is going to do is basically just ignore everything that's not watchtower.ropnop.dev, so your Burp Suite just becomes a little bit more manageable. So you can hit add to scope, and then you can hit yes, then it won't even intercept anything that doesn't go to that site. This is the only site I want you focused on right now, so we can go ahead and enable this. And then back in your HTTP history tab, there's this filter bar right here. It says hiding CSS, image, and general binary content. You can actually click on that and change your filter settings. And if you check the box that says show only in scope items and hit apply, now you're only going to see things that are relevant to the site we're trying to hack. Just a big quality of life improvement, because if you don't have that, your browser is going to make a bunch of background requests to things that we don't care about or might be out of scope. But now we have it just listed here on watchtower.ropnop.dev.
What did you click that again?
Yep, it's actually kind of a hidden button. It says where it says filter. It doesn't look like a button. It looks just like a text bar, but you can click on that and it pops open the filter settings.
Sorry, what tab is that under?
Your proxy tab, HTTP history.
Thanks, got it.
Yep. So our first challenge is in this Watchtower portal. We're employed by Lex Luthor, and we're trying to break into the Justice League Watchtower here. So we'd like to be able to register ourselves and get access to the Watchtower portal. So we can click on register, and it asks us to, register our superhero name and our real identity. But then it asks for a registration code, and it says that should have been given to you by Batman or Superman. And I don't know what it is. If I put anything in there and hit register, I get a bad registration code. So our first challenge together as we go through is, can we find a registration code that works? And the big hint I would give is look through Burp Suite at the actual HTTP requests and responses, especially the responses that come back, and try to figure out what this login page does. Look at the HTML and read through the HTML and see if there's any hints there as to what sort of registration code it might be expecting. Another technique, if you don't want to look at the HTML within Burp Suite, is you can always right click and do view page source. This will also give you the actual source code that makes up this page that you would see in the HTTP response. So I'll give you all a minute to try to read the source code of that registration page and tell me if you see any way in.
Ronnie, how were you able to switch that response from raw to pretty? It's not letting me.
Within Burp Suite here?
Yeah, mine's not, just stuck on raw.
Well, now I'm curious. So this is actually professional because I have a license. And I don't know if that's a professional only feature. Is anyone else able to switch to pretty?
Yeah, I can.
Oh, so maybe it's not. It may only work on certain requests. So like here, I can't switch to pretty
Ah.
because it's only a request, but the response, like this is, I can't switch to pretty because there's no code here. This is just HTTP. But if you go to one that actually has like HTML,
Mm.
then it'll let you do pretty.
Ah, okay, got it. Thank you.
So that might be it.
So I found the code.
All right, you want to tell me where what we're looking at for, or what we're looking for here?
Well, the Justice League needs to remove their comments because they left a comment of a default registration code in the response that returned from the submitting it without a registration code, and it was Justice 3L34 GU or GUE.
Great catch. So, yep, looks like there's a comment that was left behind that was supposed to be removed before going to prod, but they never did. So let's try copying this registration code and using it to register ourselves in the portal. Let me get it. And you may think that's a silly example. You'd be surprised how often this type of stuff actually occurs. Buried comments in like JavaScript code or React apps of things left over from developers that they never removed. So if we paste that registration code in there, we are able to register our new superhero for the Justice League and get access here. And give me just a second. Feel free to click around if you're able to register. Look at the different functionality up here. We're going to go through them and try to I'll demo some vulnerabilities, but I'm still trying to get my Burp suite to work so you can follow along with what I do. I'm sorry, just give me a few minutes, but this is time to just kind of explore if you're able to get in, try the Oracle search in the location DB, follow along in Burp Suite and see the requests. There's definitely vulnerabilities galore in here, and I will walk through them in just a minute. If I can get my Burp Suite to work.
Where was the view source?
Within the browser, you can just right click anywhere on the page and then go to view source. So that's a way that you can identify source code within the browser
right.
if you don't want to look at it in Burp. Okay, I think I got mine working. Figured it out. All right, so our job working for Lex Luthor is to find some vulnerabilities in the Justice League Watchtower portal here. And coincidentally, all 3 vulnerabilities that we just talked about this morning are present on 3 different pages within the Watchtower portal. So I'm going to walk through them all together. And then you can try to follow, or please try to follow along. I'll kind of explain my thought process as a pen tester for what I'm looking for, and then I can show actual like exploitation of them. So the first place that we'll start is our Oracle query here. It says this form will let you tap into Oracle's API on all known villains, enter a search term to see if there are any matches. So as a pen tester, of course, we just want to try to use the normal functionality. Let's just see if we can find a villain like the Joker. And we do see, you know, I type in Joker and I see information. And if we look at what happened, a search term was appended here that says Joker and came back here. If we follow along in Burp Suite, we can also find the exact request of Joker getting sent over a GET request and the response coming back. Next, I want to figure out what happens if there is no villain. So I'll just search for something random and see what happens. You know, again, sending unexpected input to the server. And I see no results for ASDF. Try Wikipedia search. If I look back at Burp Suite about what happened here, and I'll try to make this a little bit bigger. Sorry, Burp Suite doesn't do well when I try to zoom the text. But if you're following along, you can find the actual request and response pair. And I can see that I sent ASDF. And in my response, I can actually search down here in the bar and see if what I sent was reflected back to me. So I'll search for ASDF. And we can actually see that the response has ASDF. So as a hint here, being that this is reflected back to me, can you think of any vulnerability we talked about that perhaps we should test for whenever we see the server reflecting input right back to the user?
Injection.
So yeah, we would be looking for a type of injection, specifically like content injection. And just with any injection vulnerability, what we want to know is, does the server do anything to special characters? So I'll show another feature of Burp Suite here, another tool to have in our arsenal. Burp Suite has the ability to replay requests. So if we find a request that we want to hone in on and do some testing for, we can right-click within that request and hit send to repeater. And then up here at the top, the repeater tab turns orange. Yeah, apologies, let me see if I can zoom in. Does this do anything? No, the problem is Burp Suite doesn't honor my like Windows zoom settings, so the text remains smaller. But maybe this will work. I'll try to use this magnifier here. Maybe this. So what we want to do is in the repeater tab, when we load up a request in the repeater tab, we can hit send, and we can send this request over and over and over again. And this is sending the exact same request, and we're looking at what the response comes back as. And what's cool about this is we can just modify one thing and then see if the response came back any differently. So I know here that my search term is, oh, now my Windows is just being laggy. We can see here, get Oracle /villains search equals ASDF. what we want to do is try to click in there and put some special characters like quotes and brackets, and then hit send. And we'll look in on our response over here, and we can go down here to the search bar and look for ASDF, ASDF. And what we see is we have two results. One, we see things were correctly encoded from the server. So our quote became and quote, greater than, less than, greater than. So that doesn't look very vulnerable. That looks like the server did a good job. But down here, when it constructed the Wikipedia link, these special characters were not encoded. They came back raw. What this tells me as an attacker or a pen tester is I can potentially inject some JavaScript here and have JavaScript come back from the server and execute within the browser. So let me show you what that will look like. And feel free to try along if you have the Oracle thing open here. Let's just do ASDF, ASDF, which we know does not exist. And then we can do a quote, close bracket, script, alert one, script. And if we try to search for this, we get a pop-up that says 1. And if you recall from the slides, what this basically means is that I've been able to execute arbitrary JavaScript within watchtower.ropnop.dev. This is cross-site scripting. This is me being able to bypass the same origin policy and inject source code to be reflected back to me and executed within the origin. Now, alert 1 doesn't really do anything, but a screenshot like this at a bug bounty program would get you, depending on the severity, a couple $1,000s. Like this is a pretty severe vulnerability. But an attacker, of course, would not just say alert 1. However, we're able to take that and actually make a payload from it. So let me show you. Oops. I've also gone ahead and created actual exploits for these vulnerabilities to show you what could happen if an attacker did it properly. Since we work for Lex Luthor, they're hosted at Luthor's website, which is luthercorp.ropnop.dev. And this is what a cross-site scripting attack would look like in practice. Someone would send you a link, and it would be, an innocuous looking link, and it would say, hey, click here. Well, if I click here, I get directed into the watchtower. Lex Luthor's malicious JavaScript gets loaded and executed, and I get a message that says, haha, Ropnop, I know your secret identity is Ronnie Flathers from Lex Luthor. So this is an example of bad JavaScript coming from Luthor Corp, being injected into Watchtower, being loaded and trusted, and then using that JavaScript to steal the superhero's secret identity. So to see it in action, go to luthercorp.ropnop.dev, hit cross-site scripting 1, and if you are logged in, it should redirect you, and your cross-site scripting payload will automatically execute, and Lex Luthor will steal your identity.
In order to be able to log in, were we supposed to, is there like a drop down to get the commented out secret key?
If you, if you go to, I think it was /register on this page, if you look at the view page source, there was a comment on line 88 that was left behind by the flash. And
okay.
so this right here, Justice League and Leet Speak, is what the default registration code that'll let you in. And then that'll let you register your superhero with your identity. And then if you are logged in and go to luthercorp.ropnop.dev and click on cross-site scripting 1, you'll see a cross-site scripting attack in action against your secret identity where Lex Luthor steals it. And he does that by injecting JavaScript into the page. So content injection or cross-site scripting. Does that make sense? Or is it at least kind of cool to see it in action? Like this is what cross-site scripting could result in?
Sorry, what was the Luthor Corp
oh yeah, let me post
URL
that in
again?
chat. luthercorp.ropnop.dev. And then XSS1 is the one that I just demoed. All right, so moving along, and I'm kind of moving fast through this, but I want to let everyone know, like, this website is actually up 24/7, and it's available for you to play in, practice in. So I encourage you, as you're kind of following along here, I'm not even going to cover everything that's on this site, so there's other things that you can go in and try to find or experiment. But if you ever want to just test or see cross-site scripting or Sql injection or something like that, you can come back to this site anytime, even when the class is over. So I'm going to move on to demo what another vulnerability looks like. And to do that, we're going to look at the credits page. So the credits page says you can transfer your crime fighting credits to other heroes. If we've just registered, we start with 1,000 credits. And here we have a drop down and we can transfer to a hero. And if we want to just like give Aquaman 1 credit, if we hit transfer, we successfully transferred 1 credit to Aquaman, and now we only have 999 credits available. So if we look back in Burp Suite and go back to our proxy and our HTTP history, we can find the actual post request here. It's a post to /credits. And this is the actual HTTP request that sends money to Aquaman or transfers money from us to Aquaman. So we see post to credits. Down at the bottom, we can see exactly what was sent. It's just 2 variables. Recipient is Aquaman, amount equals 1. And we see that some cookies like our session identifier was sent. Looking at this, what I don't see as a security tester is anything called like a xsurf token or csurf protection token or any of the protections that we talked about with cross-site request forgery. So I go through my my mental checklist and say, well, this is a HTTP post request. It performs an action and it uses cookies. And as far as I can tell, there's no JavaScript involved in this. So this is very likely to be exploited or exploitable for cross-site request forgery. So if we recall what cross-site request forgery payloads look like, we'll pull one open and take a look at how we can construct a cross-site request forgery payload, and we'll do that. Oops, that's the wrong window. There it is. We will do that on LutherCorp. So if everyone wants to go to luthercorp.ropnop.dev/csurf, don't click it yet. I just want to show you, if you right click and view page source, this is the entirety of a cross-site request forgery payload. It's simply HTML that submits a form to /credits with a recipient and an amount. It basically just mimics and constructs the exact request that the Watchtower expects in order to transmit tokens. So Lex Luthor would send something like this to a victim like myself and say, click me, or watch cat videos here. And if we click this, we're redirected and we see a message here that we just successfully transferred 100 credits to Lex Luthor, and we're down to 899. We were at 999. So that is a classic example of a cross-site request forgery attack in action. If we go back and do it again, every time we click this button, even though we don't want to, we're automatically submitting a request and we're transferring money to Lex Luthor, and our credits just keep going down. It's a very simplistic cross-site request forgery attack, but the principle is entirely there. We are clicking a button on a different domain. It's causing the browser to send a request. We can see the request in Burp Suite. It sends it to Lex Luthor, 100, and because browsers are overly helpful, our session cookie is sent automatically when we click that button from LutherCorp, and therefore the server processes it and actually transfers money to Lex Luthor. Okay, then real quick, running a little behind, but I will show you guys and walk you through the last vulnerability that we'll talk about in this portion, which is SQL injection. And the SQL injection is located in the location database or location DB. So if we click on location DB, it says this form will let you tap into Justice League's database of superheroes operating systems, cities around the universe. So if we want to just like first use it as we would expect it to be used, we can search for Metropolis, and we'll see that, you know, one superhero came up, his location is in Metropolis. Now what we can guess a little bit on the back end, right, is this is a classic example of a server translating HTTP into SQL. So what we want to do is identify whether or not HTTP is being translated securely, and is it possible to put special characters in? So maybe we'll try doing like you know, ASDF and see what happens. We get no results, but what if we do ASDF with a quote mark? Oh, we actually get a error message. It says SQLite error, unrecognized token, ASDF quote, bad queries, select star from locations, where location like ASDF. And if you look closely, there's actually 2 quotes here. So this is a very verbose and dangerous error message that's saying, I'm trying to construct a SQL query and you put a special character in there. But I'll blow through this really quickly, and I encourage you to follow along or come back and play with it. If we know that it's SQLite, so there's some specific SQLite syntax that we can put in there. But one thing that we can try doing, right, that we talked about is or 1 = 1 semicolon dash dash. That actually dumps out everything in the table, and that's valid, so we don't get an error, and we actually get to see every superhero in their location, which is kind of sensitive, but not really, because we could probably just search through all the locations. But what if we did something more like this? I should have. Let me explain what I did there. Oops. There we go. So we can start constructing, and I just know this from muscle memory, but we can start constructing some more advanced SQL queries. And if we know it's SQLite, I can actually call the SQLite version function and have it return to me what version of SQL is running. So we can do that through union select with a SQLite version. The table looks the same, but the data looks weird. We actually get 1 and 3.31.1. Well, 3.31.1 is the SQLite version. So we're actually talking to the backend database and confusing the server to give us data from the database. So we can extract that a little bit further with something like this and say, okay, now I want you to also extract every table name from SQLite master. So we're talking to the database and we want to say, what other tables are there? And we can see, you know, again, some weird data over here in this left column. We see identities and locations. So there's actually 2 tables in this database. We were searching for the locations, but there's another table called identities, which could potentially contain sensitive information if these are superhero secret identities. So if we, again, just put in some union select star from identities, we get very sensitive information here. We're actually reading data from a totally different table in the database and displaying it as if it was the name and location of the hero. So instead of saying the hero name and the city he operates in, we're pulling data from the other table and populating the table with the actual secret identity or real name of every Justice League member. So that's SQL injection in practice. You obviously can hopefully see The impact there, usually what a real attacker would do is dump every user's password or social security number or email address or phone number or sensitive information that's all over in different tables. This is just a small database, but it's got some superhero secret identity information. All right. Well, I know I blew through that really fast. The goal of that was to kind of just show you these in practice, get everyone set up with Burp Suite, get you a little familiar clicking around. Like I said, everything on this website is always available. So there's more things that I didn't even touch, a couple other locations here that I encourage you to go and try or recreate what we talked through. But this is just going to be like a testing ground, and I give you explicit, indefinite permission to always try to hack this website. I don't care. So what I'll do is I'll pause here for any questions or anyone who wants to go back and look at this. But in my other window here, I'm going to start setting up our CTF, and we're going to let that run for like an hour and a half or so, and then we'll announce the winner and call it a day. Anyone have any questions? Or I guess first, anyone still having trouble with Burp Suite or following along with any of this?
Could you put the SQL queries in the chat?
The SQL injection stuff?
Yeah, please.
Yep.
So you're a man?
Yeah, there's actually two different Captain Marvels. So this is all DC, like the Captain Marvel from Marvel was, or Captain Marvel from Marvel Comics, like the movie, is a woman, but then there's a Captain Marvel in DC that was in the Shazam movie. That's like his name. There's two different Captain Marvels basically. We can also take a break. I'm going to get the CTF turned on and open up registration, and then I'll post the links in there. But if anyone needs a quick bio break or to get a drink, I'll get it set up, but I won't actually open it until 2:30. So we can come back at 2:30 if you need to take a break. Which is mine. This is an actual Owasp project called Owasp Security Shepard. It's a Java application that's designed to teach principles of web security with a series of increasingly difficult challenges. And there's a scoreboard that's enabled, and you register an account. So I'll walk everyone through how to actually do this. And the plan is basically from now until 3:30 or 3:45, I don't know, depending on, or 4, depending on how long people want to go. We'll try to wrap it all up by 4. We'll let this run, and whoever has the highest score at the end of the day, based on the scoreboard, meaning got through the most challenges, wins a free book courtesy of Owasp. It's a awesome book called the Web Application Hacker's Handbook. That's a great reference. You should definitely have it on your bookshelf or next to you as you code. So there's a little something to compete for, but that's nothing compared to all the bragging points and kudos you'll get for beating and winning the CTF for the, is this November Platoon, for Code Platoon? Yep. So let me get everyone started here. All right, so registration is open. It is located at owasp.codeplatoon.ropnop.com. You should be able to register an account. You can do this in Burp Suite. I will also call out but you don't need to use Burp Suite. If you want to just use a normal browser, you can as well. But if you'd like to configure Burp Suite to proxy the security Shepard traffic, you can. You will get points for each challenge completed. If you get stuck or want help or pointers, like just mention it in chat or say something, we can do a breakout room, or I can help you out or ask anyone else. One thing I will ask is none of the challenges require things like brute forcing or blasting the server. So please don't run any automated tools. Don't run any automated scanners against the server. I'm just hosting this myself. If you take it down, you're going to ruin the fun for everyone. So it should just be, very targeted. Try a few things, you'll figure it out. You shouldn't need to do any automated tools. Hopefully this is all set up and working now. Here is the login page. So if you go to owasp.codeplatoon.ropnop.com, you should be able to register an account. You can put any password in, it doesn't really matter. Email address is not important. I didn't actually set up email confirmation, so you can put anything in there. It won't send any emails to you that's not tied into an email server. Whoops. I guess the passwords do have to match. If you get logged out or you close the window, you will have to remember your password, so don't forget your password. But trying to do this too fast.
Are the challenges on this website itself, or are we still using the Watchtower?
No, Watchtower is just for fun and for practice. The challenges are on owasp.codeplatoon.
Okay, so open that in the Burp browser.
Yes, yep, or I'm just doing it outside of Burp right now just to show you all. But I just wanted to show, so after you register, and please let me know if you have problems. Last time I did this, there was some issues and I had to restart the server. But you should land on this homepage here. And I just wanted to show you how to get started. So if you click, you can always click on Get Next Challenge, and it will take you to the first challenge. And so each challenge will have a little bit of description about the vulnerability. It will link to a couple of Owasp references so you can read up a little bit more about it. And every challenge will have a key, which is the answer to the challenge. So it says the result key to complete this lesson is stored in the administrator's profile. And if we hit refresh profile, we can see it's loading a profile for guest account. In this first challenge, the big hint is, can you get it either by using Burp, intercepting it, doing something? Can you get it to refresh and load the profile for the administrator? When you see a key, it'll be very clear like it's a key, it's a random string. If you copy and paste the key, you can submit it right here. And if you are when you submit it and it's correct, you will get points, and then you'll be able to move on to the next challenge. I'll have the scoreboard open and sharing. As soon as someone figures out the first challenge, their name will appear with some points, and then I'll keep refreshing this over the course of the next hour and 10 minutes or hour and so. And we'll wrap it up then. So please register. Let me know if you have problems registering. Try that first challenge. See if you can get it with Burp Suite, or if you have any problems with Burp Suite, let me know. You can share your screen. We can do a breakout room. And we'll keep the scoreboard up, and we'll say, I guess, an hour and 10 minutes, like 3:45 or 3:50-ish. We'll call it done, announce the winner, wrap up, and we'll be done at 4. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Cool.
All right. I'll keep this scoreboard shared on my screen so you can all see if as people get answers and start moving on.